So you've watched the trailer for Final Fantasy XIV Dawntrail and decided to pick up the game. But you have no idea who anyone is, and playing the game up to this point sounds like a lot of work. Don't worry, I'm here to help. The cloaked figure who appears on screen first is you. Technically, it's the default Warrior of Light, but everywhere he appears in any piece of Final Fantasy XIV media, you can imagine your character in his place. Almost everywhere. The Bunny Man, who in Final Fantasy XIV are called Viera, is Erenvel, and he's, well, quick aside that will be relevant for most of the characters in this trailer is a little place we call Old Sharlayan. Why it's not just Sharlayan is another video, but Old Sharlayan is a nation-state that is also one giant university. The students who get their PhD, not really but kinda, are called Archons, and they can get a fancy tattoo and are the only ones allowed in the group that runs the place. This university has definitely not fraternities like the students of Baldesion, extracurricular groups like the Scions of the Seventh Dawn, and a group called Gleaners who go around getting stuff for the researchers and the students to research and study. Erenvel is a Gleaner. The next person we see is an Elezen, read elf, named Estinian, and he is one of the few not related to Sharlayan. He was once the Dragoon, a fancy lancer, but retired due to events, and now wanders around getting into trouble and helping the Scions. He's a simple man who likes to poke his problems aggressively with his lance. Next is Alize, who's also an Elezen, and also a teenager. She ditched school in Sharlayan to find her grandpa and then save the world a few times. She's got a heart that can get her into trouble and magical swordsmanship that can get her out of it. Y'shtola is a Makote, I dare you to call her a cat girl, who studied at the place that made Sharlayan Old Sharlayan and became an Archon and one of the core members of the Scions. She is supposed to be blind, but the world needed saving, so she uses magic to see. She's equally capable of healing and exploding people and would likely make a condescending remark at them in either case. Thancred is human. Here. A thief turned Archon, a rogue turned gunbreaker, and he was also one of the core members of the Scions. He is here not because he joined your party, but for a totally unrelated job that will absolutely turn out to be related. Eorzea is an Elezen, a healer, and an Archon who was inexplicably made hotter in the Shadowbringer expansion. He's the last of the surviving core Scions, and he's here with Thancred. Grahatia is a Makote Archon and a member of the students of Baldesion. Through weird parallel world and time travel shenanigans, he is both young and hundreds of years old, and has spent most of his time-weird life wanting to adventure with the Warrior of Light. Read you, which is definitely not the biggest reason he's here. It totally is. Kryl is a Lalafell. Read Halfling? An Archon and the current, or at least acting leader of the students of Baldesion, after something happened to most of their members, including her grandfather, the former leader. She has, as far as we can tell, created the job of Pictomancer, which to me looks to be a support caster. Alphino is the twin to Alize, a prodigy who graduated early, technically so did Alize, and he fancies himself a decent to excellent diplomat, depending on who's died lately. For a long time, he used a giant white magical squirrel thing. I'm definitely not salty we don't get the Diamond Carbuncle. But he became a sage when the class was added in the last expansion. The final character is also the newest, Wook Lamont, a female Hrothgar, extra cat person, and princess to the new region. She hired us to help in a war of succession, promising adventure along the way. And that's the who's who. For a bonus, these are the Mamulja, lizard-ish men who rule the new region. The two-headed variants are the extra special boys who are treated as natural leaders, and they get big. They've played a very minor role in the game so far, only existing in one region and an adjacent dungeon, and the Blue Mage questline. This is a Nutkin. They're mostly joke animals, though some occasionally speak, and I'm very curious to know why this one has been given so much screen time. This is a paint-based Spriggan, little rock gremlins that apparently can be summoned in paint form by Pictomancers. My bet is that this is a limit break. And thanks for watching. I hope this was informative. I'll be trying to go into greater detail for each of the characters and places as I move forward. I'll be prioritizing old characters who show up in the new expansion once it releases. Adventure awaits!